Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For many of us, the fourth night out this week on council business. But welcome to this meeting of the Executive. I will now read out the emergency evacuation announcement. Should we be required to evacuate the building, would you please leave the building via the entrance doors to the hall, continue straight on and exit the building via the double doors on the right to the car park, which is the assembly point. Please do not delay your evacuation to collect any belongings. Please do not return to the building until given permission to do so by council staff. Please note that the meeting will be audio recorded. Please switch off mobile phones or turn them to silent, please. Members, there are 4 microphones on the tables for use during the meeting. When I invite you to speak, please wait until there is a microphone in front of you before speaking, as microphones are needed for the hearing loop and for the audio recording. Please, where possible, assist in passing microphones to each other and use the hand gel and the antibacterial wipes on the tables if you do touch the microphones. Members, voting will be done on a show of hands in line with the Constitution. I will ask for a show of hands for and against recommendations and will then ask for any abstentions. We move to agenda item number 1, which is apologies for absence, and there are none. Item 2, non-members attending. Councillor Ian Foster, looking on his lonesome over there, but good evening, Councillor Foster. Agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of July 21. Members, are the minutes agreed? Thank you. Item number 4, to receive declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest, members, from the agenda items? That's no from everyone. Item 5 on the agenda is questions on notice from councillors, and there are none. Which takes us to item number 6, matters referred to the Executive and reports from other committees. Again, there are none. Agenda item 7, Council Projects Programme, Management Office, and the Chief Executive Officer, Rochford District Council and Brentwood Borough Council, Jonathan Stevenson, will present the report. Jonathan.
Thank you, Chair. Members, you have in front of your report an update on the Council's project and programme management. It highlights 3 in particular projects: the Connect programme, the Asset Delivery programme and the Beagle project. With regards to the Connect programme, you will see in front of you tonight an Investor Save project later in the agenda, so hopefully that will be self-explanatory. Further Investor Save projects will be coming forward later in the autumn as part of the Connect programme. The Asset Delivery programme, in here there's an update with regard to the programme, and again, based on the timeline agreed by Executive, there'll be a decision-making paper coming in the autumn as well, through to the Executive or Council. I think it's Council actually, sorry. Thank you. With regard to the Beagle project, obviously we all know the restrictions in 2021, so we're looking at the event to be recasted and planned for summer 2022. Full brief and further details reported back to the next meeting of Executive. I'm happy to take any questions or other officers around the table are as well, or portfolio holders. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions from that report? Councillor Efti.
There you go. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. No, I haven't really. Yes, we've been in touch with Raleigh Town Council Clerk, and we're waiting for a meeting with them so we can put part of the money hopefully into Raleigh to give a big bang on the Trinity Fair, the one that's coming up next year. in conjunction with the Queen's Jubilee, I think you're doing. And also looking at setting up something for Rochford, actually in the middle of Rochford as well, so this should be quite exciting, hopefully.
Thank you, Councillor Efti. Are there any other points or questions to ask of the report? I see no hands, so on that basis, we'll turn to recommendation 1 set out at paragraph 1.1 to note updates on the Council's 3 projects, the Connect programme and the Asset Delivery programme, both gold projects, and the Beagle event project, a silver project. Is that noted, members? Noted. Thank you, members. We move to agenda item number 8, which is the Q1 2021-22 financial year management report. And I will ask Councillor Simon Smith, portfolio holder, to present the report, ably, I'm sure, assisted by the Section 151 officer, Naomi Lucas. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chairman. I've already given members of the executive an informal briefing on this, but for the purposes of the formality of this meeting, I'll just run through a few bullet points and urge you to support the recommendations printed on point 2 on the report. So this is the Q1 financial monitoring report. Purpose of the report is to set out the forecast revenue and capital budget positions at Q1. The latest revenue budget is £11,098,000. Changes to the original budget are due to drawdowns from reserves, which are detailed in Appendix 1. The forecast outrun at Q1 is £11,164,000, which gives a small projected overspend of £66,000 after applying the Council's COVID-19 general grant allocation, but before any additional funding from the Government Income Compensation Scheme. The variances across individual portfolio budgets are set out in more detail in the body of the report and at Appendix 2. The Council continues to feel the impact of COVID-19 on its budgets, particularly on car parking, which is currently forecast to be £0.5 million below budget. We report regularly on our expected financial pressures relating to the pandemic to central government. The Council's COVID-19 grant to cover general pandemic-related pressures in 21-22 is £341,000. The Government has also continued its income compensation scheme in the first quarter of 21-22. At the time of writing the report, the amount of compensation for Rochford District was not yet confirmed, so it's not reported or included in the projected outrun figures. Oh, sorry. I'll just close that down. The position will continue to be closely monitored for the remainder of the year and will inform the budget setting process for 22-23 onwards. The original capital programme for 21-22 was £3.6 million. As part of the close down of the 2021 financial year, £0.5 million of carry forward was agreed, creating a revised budget of £4.1 million. The projected outrun on the Council's capital programme as at Q1 is £1.830 million. The major item with slippage against the revised 21-22 budget is the Asset Development Programme, which accounts for nearly £2 million of the capital budget this year, pending agreement of the first stop-go decision point. The table at Appendix 3 summarises the projected capital position by service areas. I suppose the just one thing that I would like to just re-emphasise, Chairman, is that given the COVID pressures, given the complexity of COVID pressures on the Council and the Council's administration and its running, on a budget of £11,100,000, we're just 66,000 projected being adrift at this point. As a percentage, that is extremely low, and I'm very pleased with this position at this point of time. But it's no reason to become complacent. This is going to be a complex and complicated year, from a financial point of view. But as always, I'm just the face here. The hard work has been done by Naomi and her team, and on each and every opportunity, I'll take the opportunity to thank her and her team for the hard work that they do. But if you have got any complicated questions, Naomi's the one to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Naomi Lucas, did you wish to add anything before we move into questions? Thank you very much indeed. And I certainly endorse those comments that you make, Councillor Smith. We are fortunate to have a Section 151 officer that manages the finances extremely well, and to all officers for their contribution to the process. But dare I say, Councillor Smith, under your stewardship as portfolio holder. So it is team effort, but thank you, Councillor Smith, for what you do. Right, any questions on the report that you've heard? I'm not seeing any hands go up, so I turn to the recommendation as set out in paragraph 1.1, which says to note the Q1 2021-22 revenue budget and capital position set out in sections 3 and 4 below and detailed in appendices 1 to 4. Members, is that noted?
Noted.
Thank you, members. Moving on to item number 9, it had been thought that a presentation accompanying item 10 would contain items of confidential commercial sensitivity and confidentiality. The Chief Executive and I are comfortable that that is now not the case, and it was our wish, in the interest of total transparency and openness, that we should do everything we could to avoid going into an exempt session. So as such, we will not be going into an exempt session, and the whole of item 10 will be within this committee and in the public domain. Is that all right, members?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving then to item 10, I turn to the Deputy Leader, Councillor Mrs Cheryl Rowe, and she will, I'm sure, be ably accompanied by Dawn Tribe, Assistant Director of Transformation and Customer. Thank you. Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Chairman. Can you hear me? Good.
Pardon?
Before I start this presentation, first of all, I'd like to thank all the staff that have been involved with this. It's a big project. So, Dawn, thank you to you and your team, and to Luke and his team for all he's done. Thank you. So it was agreed by full council in February 2020 to create a Connect Transformation Reserve of £497,847 to fund Invest to Save projects identified through the work of the Connect programme. At the July 2021 executive, it was agreed to bring forward the appointment of a transformation project manager to assist the key change champions in carrying some business analysis and identify those Invest to Save projects which would fit the Connect Invest to Save principles. The report you have includes the first of these Invest to Save business cases and seeks approval to draw down monies from the Connect programme fund to implement a customer relationship management portal. The key change champions have not taken this challenge lightly. This business case has been through a check, challenge and probe process and has been endorsed by the leadership team and the programme board. The business case is supported by a presentation which will be presented by Dawn, thank you, the Assistant Director of Transformation and Customer. The presentation will show your officers talking about how this customer relationship management portal will not only change the customer's experience, but how it will save processing time and in some cases avoid future costs. So over to you, Dawn, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rowe. I am actually standing because Luke was going to do this presentation because this is very much his work that he's put together, but he's unfortunately not able to be with us tonight because he's pending the birth of his first child. So I'm standing in, so I hope I do him justice. So I'm going to stand up because Sonia is aiding as well through the presentation. You've just seen the first screen up there that said simpler, smarter services. and this is what this is about: redesigning the customer experience. By 2023, we will have made use of changing technology to become more efficient and ensure residents can contact us more easily and access more services online. That is what we say in our RDC business plan. It's very easy to say what we will do in the future. However, we are what we do, not what we say we'll do. We need to demonstrate our call to action. In the past, if you had a list of things that you wanted to do, you would have to do it by paper, sending lots of paper to wherever you needed to post it to. But now you can transfer money, renew your car insurance and book a holiday all from your phone while eating your takeaway that you've probably ordered online. We've gone from innovation to expectation. With around 8,000 customers contacting us through various channels, and with each contact received lasting just under 4 minutes to complete tasks that could be done online, we need to make sure that we're keeping up. Phase 1 of this is already complete. Luke has actually reviewed systems with our officers, had a look at high volume interactions we have with our customers, and noted how these can be improved. And this presentation will show you through video your officers working in their service areas talking about how this system can improve how they work, and in some cases actual money, future costs to be avoided. Some of our digital ambitions are straightforward. Others can be quite complex. Regardless, our customers shouldn't need to understand how government works to get the information they want. They just want us to provide them with the services they need. Delivering online service and improving the customer journey doesn't have an end date. It is not a project. It is an iterative process. Our DTO, which in the report, if you see, is what we're asking for, a digital technical officer to help us deliver this system, deliver the following outcomes as part of this process. Luke has worked with the licensing team, speaking to the licensing team about how they work, what they do, how we can make improvements, how this system can make improvements. In order to meet accessibility regulations, central government are discontinuing the paper-based licensing forms that they currently use. These forms are critical to us. We use them for processing applications and taking payments. It is now a licensing team manually replicate these forms, and they're going to have to do this by March 2022 at the latest. So they need a replacement solution, or they're going to have to do it themselves. I think if we just move to the video showing Stephen Greener, who is the licensing officer, and on your right is Luke McKenzie, who is our digital services manager, and I'll let him speak for himself to tell you how this is going to change how they work.
The quotes were phenomenal for the costs. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, so basically, that says that if we split the payment over 3 years, so it'll be a rolling 3 years, it'll be £9,050 for the first year, and then the second year will be £9,050, and the third year will be £9,050. Or if you do it all up front, it'll be £27,000. That's just to actually have the system. That doesn't cost the actual creation of the forms. If you look at 2.3, they would want another £4,300, so basically £100 per form to actually maintain the system. And then you've got the licence cost, which is £2,750 a year. So the cost just keeps going up and up and up. Yeah, we've got to break it down. It's all broken down there, so I can then do the summary as to this is the conversation I had with the company. This is how much it's going to cost. Every 3 years, you've got to spend out £27,000. And to be honest, I can't sit around resetting up forms instead of application forms, now doing renewal forms. It's just impractical. I can't do it. not with when we've only got 2 officers, which is myself and one other, covering 11 different legislations. It's just impractical.
So that's Stephen Greener talking about how much the cost would be if we didn't implement this system, the customer portal, and he would have had to do all those forms himself and go to that company, and that's the costs. And they are outlined in the report. We will improve our efficiency through modernising services and changing the way we work to meet residents' needs. That again is in our business plan. Another example of where these efficiencies can be had are in environmental health, and Luke has been speaking to the environmental health officer. And what we want, and what was coming across here, is we want happier, more efficient staff who are equipped with technology they need to do their job. And we know that we encourage people to come to the council if we've got the good technology that they can use to make them more efficient. Officers with the environmental health team spend a lot of time out in the field, but have to frequently return to the office to manually input into data into back office systems. Our current internal technology prevents us from unlocking the potential for mobile working. We want our staff to be able to work easily from wherever they are, embracing what technology can offer. Our DTO will use the GovService platform to modernise service delivery and take the drudgery out of manual processes by implementing a suite of new intelligent digital processes that will capture information around food service requests, food premises inspections, pollution and noise. I think if we move on to the video, here, this is Andrew Padden speaking to Luke about how he sees this system will improve how he works and the customer experience.
With this software, we can have a form created, so when the guys are out in the district doing, say, a food hygiene inspection, they could input the information directly into the tablet that they've got with them. They could then hit the send or button, whatever, and the relevant information will then get uploaded straight into Uniform. That for us would be a quantum leap forward, particularly with the Connect project and us wanting to work remotely. That would then remove the need for them to come back to the office to hand over a hard paper copy to someone in customer services. The customer services then wouldn't need to input it, so they would save up a lot of their time because they're not having to input stuff. And dare I say it cuts out the human error angle as well. There's one less person, well, I can't read their handwriting, what's that? And which does happen, so then information gets input incorrectly, so it will actually improve the accuracy of what's being, the data we're capturing, save a lot of complaints but requests we get later down the line of, well, that's wrong, or hang on, no, that's not the score I wanted, and then we have to go back in and correct it, which takes up a lot of time. So time-wise, it would save an awful lot of officer time. It would, which I can, if need be, try and work out what the hard currency figure on that is. The working style is exactly what the authority is pushing towards. It would allow us to work in that way. Now, this is something we have looked to try and do about 2 years ago, but our system wasn't able to do it. So this would now mean, and that's why we didn't go down that route, so this would now mean we can go down the route that we wanted to because we have the software to do it. So for us, I'm a big fan of this. It would make our day-to-day working life so much more efficient, which is what we should be doing.
So I think you're getting the idea that our officers see that this system is not only going to benefit them, but benefit our customers. We have the same in housing. It takes housing officers 30 minutes to manually input a housing register application form. As of May 2021, there were 997 applications on the housing register. Our DTO will work with the housing team to build new digital processes that will automatically sync with their back office system. This in turn will save over 1,500 hours of work for the housing team each year. Here is Michelle Flowers, Housing Options Homelessness Officer, and Jeanette Hurrell, Housing Options Team Leader, speaking about how this will speed up their workflows.
Stuff already being downloaded on that form, and then the solid information that they need to add for their individual clients would cut down the speed so much regarding filling those big forms in, because they do take an awful long time. Some of them are eight pages long, 6-8 pages. So if you can get the name, address, birthday, you know, some of the general information in it, and it's already loaded onto the system, then we've also got a copy of it. We haven't got to scan it and put it back on the system, you know. All of these things that just take up a lot of time. The whole point of digitalising it is cutting down time. Everybody now's got smartphones, and if they haven't, they've got access through libraries, etc. So it's about cutting down time, cutting officers' time, keep going out to collect forms, and just try and make it as digital as possible, really.
If we ask them to build some forms, you know, the same as the assessment form, to populate into the cater and fill all the information in, then there's quite a huge cost to it.
So that's real life work that they do and undertake. Not only will this improve the way that we interact with our customers and improve efficiencies, but we're introducing agile working practices which will involve developing a new work culture. It's about new ways of working using new tools, new processes, new approaches to management and teamwork. That is our RDC Agile Working Policy. For that to be successful, we have to give everybody the technology and the right tools to be able to do this. So it will not only improve externally, but internally some of those processes. At the moment, our HR administration is still paper-based. This is problematic. We are setting an internal procedure for paper-based ways of working. This in turn creates huge inertia to changing and improving the way we work, that cultural change. Our DTO will provide our HR team with the tools and knowledge to challenge this, creating the context in which the HR team can operate more dynamically and lead from the front. Can you move to the video? Thank you.
Constantly improving all of the processes that we've got to strip out the paper, strip out the old-fashioned ways of doing things, not only to reduce duplication, and make sure that there aren't any errors happening and things falling in gaps that we don't know about, but more than that, for us as a team, from a cultural change point of view, to lead by example, so that our internal customers are coming across processes in their interactions with us, which should be what they're starting to pick up and do in their services. So it's that whole leading by example piece, but I think to get all of our maternity, paternity, a workflow process for staffing requirement forms, all in this system, would send strong cultural messages to all of our internal customers that this is how we now operate, this is what you have to do to engage with us, to inspire other people to do similar. But also, at the moment, there's a lot of double handling. So I think it will unlock capacity in HR, but unlock capacity for our managers. And it will just mean that we can use Teams for collaboration rather than double checking with each other that we've all done parts of still fairly paper-based processes. So I think it plays into all of the service plan that's just been signed off by Angela Hutchins from my service and how we are going to transform. This is absolutely integral to supporting us to move from a transactional team to a transformational team, without doubt.
There are other areas internally, like risk management, where this can improve the processes that we do. It can set up reminders, timers, clear deadlines, tracking and escalation routes can be pre-built into new processes to ensure that administration of data capture across all service areas is automated. This will help us achieve more by freeing up skilled resources that are lost to manual checking and processing. Here's our Principal Performance Business Support Officer, Kate O'Brien, speaking about the positive impact this will have on our data capture processes, saving 160 hours of work each and every year.
Just in terms of risks, there's 20, 30 contracts, there's 30 services, there's 15 corporate risks that that I have to send, this is your last version, the last agreed version, what changes do you want to make? Okay, do we agree? Okay, accept those changes, leave a copy to show what it was, here's what it is now, and then again, 6 months later, when you add all the service area risk registers, it's what, 30, some services are wanting to split. We've probably got about 30 service areas, we've got 15 corporates at the moment, and then we've probably got, so we only do medium to high risk contracts, we've probably got another 20 or so. So we're looking at towards 100. What would be great as well is if it could automate, so 1st of January's pops, or 2nd of January, be generous. 2nd of January pops up, right, time to review. So that's the whole admin side of it is taken away, it's just taking care of itself. And then the data is there ready to be analysed, because I'd still want the freedom to do that, because you might want to cut it 20 different ways, and there's no point in being built 20 different reports. I might as well just take the data and go, right, I'll do that with it now, it's quicker. So if it can take care of the whole get me to data analysis, that will save hours of time.
Revenues and benefits. Some people only need to access our services a few times per year. They have a short interaction with us and move on. However, there are many people who have complicated, busy lives and need lots of help from us, sometimes for a few months and sometimes for years. For these users, our services can appear tremendously siloed and difficult to navigate. Our DTO will work with Revenue and Benefits team to build over 50 true end-to-end digital processes. This will reduce time being wasted on interpreting ineligible paper-based applications that we receive, gathering supporting documentation and transferring data between departments for processing. Instead, information will be captured in a consistent and accessible way. Here is Ashley George, Senior Officer Benefits, and Pam Shepherd, Revenues and Benefits Manager, explaining why this needs to happen.
The last year has only highlighted the issues, you know, like the ideal scenarios we would have been in with online forms, and like you say, we've been in that situation where someone is smart enough to be able to type in the answers on a digital version of our form, but then we get it, print it off, scan it in. It would just be a massive win to get it into that state, into command.
As Ash says, what's happening at the moment is we're having to print this stuff off, post it out, it comes back, then Val's team have to scan it, then they have to index it, and then we have to retrieve it in Camino. So, you know, we've got customers emailing in photographs of their form, and we've got to sit and manually import those emails into Camino. So anything, if we could get it direct into Camino, sorry, I keep calling it Camino, you know what I mean, workflow, that would be a huge win.
Customer services. This customer services obviously are the front line. People call into customer services and their expectations of what they can do are becoming more and more digitalised. We use web chat and they are able to do some transactions for payments online, but very much their expectations have changed. People don't want to wait until the office opens. They want access to their application and to view its status 24/7 on any device. By moving services online, our customers can resolve their own queries at their own convenience. Digital forms are key to this channel shift because they are significantly better at making government processes more efficient. You can guide people to fill in digital forms. Errors and inconsistencies can be challenged at the time of entry. You can understand where people generally drop off in the process and improve it. You can pre-fill parts of the form for which you already know some of the answers. Our customers should experience seamless services from us with the opportunity to give feedback, as this will improve the customer experience. Our DTO will ensure that at the end of each digital transaction, it is easy for customers to provide feedback and comments using the GovService 5-star rating system, which is a bit like the Amazon rating system. So we'll get data about how we are performing. Internally, our customer services team will get a 360-degree view of our customer data in a single place, reducing data duplication. They will be able to easily access the details of customer interactions, including, for example, staff notes on a customer's specific needs, such as contact preferences or a hearing disability. The system will allow us to be able to do some real-time reporting. When designing change, it's important to know how we will recognise success. You can't improve what you can't measure. Our DTO will use real-time reporting to deep dive into all of our processes and offer better insights with regard to how we can operate more efficiently and better serve our customers. With instant and granular insights into what is happening within our service processes, we will be able to identify and resolve bottlenecks and allocate resources effectively. And this is a real-time example there, so it doesn't come across very good on the screen here. So I won't go through what that is, but so quantitative measures. 100% of our online forms made available via the customer portal. 90% of our transactional services are available digitally. 80% of received feedback for digital processes is rated 4-star or above. 70% of our paper usage is reduced, helping us to meet our climate commitments. That's what we want to achieve, and that's what we can achieve. Happy and more productive staff due to the access to better technology. Happy customers as they can access services when it's convenient for them. Better digital reputation for the council. A groundwork for future digital growth is established. I don't think the timeline's going to come up, but basically the timeline is there, and what that shows is where there are some hard deadlines, like for licensing, where they need to have something in place by March 2022. That's where we're going to start first, and then we're going to move on to revenues and benefits, because again they have hard deadlines of when they need to actually have these forms online. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Dawn, thank you very much for doing that, and I know you were put on the spot at the very last moment, so thank you very much. I think at this stage, members, I do now need to declare an interest because there's something I want to mention which relates to my work. So if I could please declare an interest as a company that deals with licensing for private hire vehicles and private hire drivers. Thank you. So let's take, there's certainly three departments within that report that come under my portfolio, licence being one of them. Now, as I've just said, I work for a company that licenses private hire vehicles and staff to drive those vehicles. The papers that those companies and drivers have to fill in is phenomenal and so time consuming for our staff to check. So that will be a plus side for licensing. HR, that's just forms. It's just crazy. So going forward, this can only be positive. Customer services. So COVID has proved and shown how residents have had to use online services more frequently. And anything to speed this up must be a positive. So happy to take any questions, and I'm sure Dawn is too. Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Ward.
With regard to my own portfolio of planning, I'm very, very interested to understand how it's actually going to work within there, say with building control, especially where the guys are going to be out. I mean, I didn't see anything on this presentation in regards to that at all. So I'm a little bit disappointed not to see that on there, because that to me would have been a very important point of where we've actually got the guys out on the road and they don't have to come back, that would have been something that I would have valued. Thank you.
Councillor Ward, thank you very much indeed for those comments, and I quite understand your passion as the portfolio holder for planning to be hungry to want to see that sort of granular data. So whilst on one side I accept the point that you're making, on the other side this was a presentation to really talk about the journey that we're going to change office systems, of which your planning processes will be very much a part of in the future. So we look forward at some point to having a presentation specifically on planning processes and how this concept will improve and enhance the productivity of that area. Thank you, Councillor Ward.
Thank you.
Can I just come back, please, Chairman? Thank you. Ian, Councillor Ward, I think, you know, planning is such a massive department and it's going to take a lot longer than a 45-minute presentation to get something together for that, but that will be looked at. Dawn, yeah. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Thank you. We've seen that there are lots of opportunities outlined to us in this project, and as soon as you finish doing the presentation there are more opportunities being put forward. Obviously, as portfolio holder for finance, I look at the numbers and the numbers say this makes sense, so why would we not pursue it and support it? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chairman. This is great. It's shame that it's taken so long to get here because of COVID and everything else that's gone before. I remember one of the first chats I had with Dawn when I first took over the portfolio for IT is, when we're going to do something like this? And she said, oh, it's in the pipeline. She showed me a list on the wall where it was on the list. So this is great. I can't see why we would not support this. This will make life so much easier for officers and our residents.
Thank you, Councillor FD. Councillor Webb.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to echo those comments on my support for this project. One thing I just want to draw members' attention to is in section 3.3, in the pipeline for the future projects as well. One that I've been speaking to Matt about already is the work around the assets and the leases system, and there's an incredibly exciting piece of work there, which I think makes perfect sense in terms of smarting up our record of assets. And I look forward to that report coming, I believe, to exec either October or November. Matt, is that correct? So through the Chairman.
Through the Chairman, to November. The pipeline says October, Chairman, but there'll be a small delay while third-party costs are confirmed. That'll be November, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Chairman. I didn't particularly want to sound negative in regards to this, because I'm not. It's purely the case that I think it's a fantastic opportunity that it's actually going to give us to actually work a lot better, a lot smarter, and a lot more economically by the look of it. And of course, in relation to my own department, I believe it's going to enhance everything we do, but not only for our officers who are out on the road, but I believe for our customers in regards to planning and looking at their plans and how they plan. And I think it's the most valuable tool. So I wanted to echo that on a more positive note rather than as I started in regards to questioning the absence of anything or any mention of planning. Thank you, Chairman.
Councillor Ward, thank you very much indeed for that clarification, but you really didn't need to clarify, because anyone that knows you knows how passionate and enthusiastic you are, and it was your enthusiasm to ensure that your own areas under your portfolio responsibility were not forgotten. It was actually quite the reverse, and we could sense your keenness to be a very much integrated part of this project, which of course your area is. Councillor Williams. Yeah, thank you. I love technology. Bring it on. Great. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Williams. Any other points? What I would like to say before we move to the formal recommendations is that what we are doing as an authority is confronting the challenges that we have in local government, generally around finance. Because when you see the impact of a digital approach to systemising some of these processes, but using IT systems, digital systems to aid us, you just realise the huge potential there is. But of course it's about taking people with us as well as our residents, and they are the key people, and we have also got to bear in mind that not everyone is going to be able to deal with digital systems. So we do actually have to straddle the requirement of some of our residents to deal with us in the traditional way that they have been used to talking to us, but also recognising that the vast majority are hungry for us to move over to these digital systems. But as I sit here, as leader, I look at what we've got going on in this authority at a very strategic and high level. The asset delivery programme, which will modernise all of our buildings across the district, both in terms of the leisure provision that we provide, the community facility, as well as the office. And whilst we must rejoice in the heritage that we have in some of our buildings, we also have to recognise that we're in a period of change, and we have to respond to that change and ensure that we work in an efficient way and we support our community in every way. Our partnership project with Brentwood is indeed also another way that we are developing efficiency in the way we work as an authority. The systems that you've talked about tonight, Councillor Rowe, Dawn Tribe and others, is so essential, because we will find ourselves in a world, if we don't respond to these challenges, we will be left behind. The great thing, I believe, actually as an authority, is that we're actually at the forefront and being visionary in recognising the challenges that we face, and we're getting in front of those challenges. And when we look a little bit wider, I look at ASELA, the Association of South Essex Local Authorities. What we're not doing is we're not putting a ring fence around Rochford and saying, right, the rest of Essex can get on with it. We are an integral part of making sure that the service that we provide for businesses, for residents and for leisure in our district is an integral part of the wider Essex surrounding us. So I have to say to you, I'm very excited and very proud to be leader of this authority at this time, when actually we're responding to challenges and confronting those challenges head on. Thank you very much indeed, members and officers. And unless there's any other comments, I will move to the formal recommendations. There are two recommendations set out at paragraphs 1.1 and 1.2. 1.1, to note the pipeline of Connect programme Invest to Save projects being brought forward following the business analysis work undertaken by the Key Change Champions, KCC's group. Is that noted, members?
Noted.
Thank you. And to 1.2, to approve the GovService Customer Experience Platform business case and drawdown of £201,200. We all get tangled up with our numbers, don't we, from time to time, from the Connect Transformation Reserve. That's £201,200 from the Connect Transformation Reserve. Do we approve that, members?
Approved.
Approved? Thank you. Members, that concludes the business for this evening, and at 8:20 p.m. we close the meeting. Thank you very much indeed for your attendance. Thank you.